Good morning, everyone. Welcome to News in Motion. If this is your first time tuning in, we just want to say thank you for tuning in and catching us here on YouTube, Facebook. If you're an audio or podcast listener, thank you for turning those dials to Hot 97 News in Motion for your relevant commentary and call to action news headlines. Today is May 9th. 2023, and this is That's Happening Tuesday. That's Happening Tuesday. We also want to give a quick shout out to Devontae Goins from Unbossed for yesterday, as he held it down, giving us some special reports. And for also Kenny Stanley with Game Over, talking about the NBA playoffs. But we have Miss Gail Dudley back, y'all. She is back, and she is ready to give y'all some headline news. So as y'all coming into the room today, let us know how you're feeling this Tuesday on That's Happening Tuesday, where you're tuning in from. Be sure to share this with a couple of friends. Be sure to like, comment, and y'all know what we do here. Let's get this news in motion.
What's up, everyone? This is Gail Dudley. I am back. And as Isaiah says, special shout out to Devontae Goins, who held it down yesterday. It was a great team working that yesterday. Devontae, Isaiah, and Kenny Stanley. So shout out to all of you all. I did not watch it. I was actually in the air flying back. But listen, I heard you all did an amazing job. And I am just so glad to know that we have a team and connections of people who will step in. Lori says, feeling excited. Her show starts Friday, and I plan on being in the house on Friday. So y'all, let's shout out to Lori Williams-Wallace and the work that she's doing. Let's congratulate her great work. Now, y'all, let me tell y'all something now. Be on her bandwagon now, because when she's on that red carpet or has that star on Hollywood, don't start saying, I know Lori went. No. Be her supporter now. She's already doing that type of level work and beyond. So let's support her. Good morning, Fred Jones. Good morning. All right, let me see who's in here. I see Lori Williams-Wallace. I see Deborah Johnson. I see Fred Jones. I see Hester Jackson. I see you, Adrian. What's up, Yvonne Gardner? I see my brother, Louis Pryor III. I see all of you rolling up in here on this morning. Again, shout out to Devontae and Isaiah and Kenny for holding it down on yesterday. I greatly appreciated that we have a team of people who can step in and do some of the things that you all are doing. Y'all, today is Tuesday. It is Tuesday. It is May the 9th, 2023. I am your host, Gail Dudley. I'm a little tired because I had fun all weekend with my entire family. We had a great time. But I want to welcome everyone who's tuning in live, or if you're watching the replay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone on the podcast platform, we want to give you a shout out as well. Y'all, the podcast platform is jamming on News in Motion. I know many of you are now headed back to work. You're taking your children to school or whatnot. So you're listening them on that audio podcast platform. And we just want to say thank you. I see you, Tracy Burrs. Adrian said, yes, they were holding it down. I had no doubt. I see you, Dr. Antoinette. Fred says, I've been calling Lori Dancing Machine for years. There you have it. I see you, Deborah Sneak. Good morning to you as well. Y'all, we have a lot of news. And I understand that Devontae stayed away from a particular topic to give me that platform on today. So let's get started. Why not, right, y'all? The coronation. I wonder what the queen is looking down and what she thought of the entire thing. I'm sure she probably was saying things like, now, Charles, you know we don't do it this way, and so forth and so on. I can only imagine. Y'all, believe it or not, I woke up Friday right about 3 a.m. because I had to get to the airport and then to fly out. Then we were helping my daughter. She's now a homeowner, y'all. Let's congratulate her on that. And so then I had an event with the church where my husband was preaching on that Sunday with the women on Friday night. I did not get back to any type of bed until about 11:30 p.m. on Friday. So y'all, from 3 a.m. to about 11:30 p.m. And in my head, I said, I have to wake up by 5 a.m. to watch the coronation. So y'all, I was doing all of this. So that's why I'm like somewhat tired this morning, but I wanted to see what was happening. So here's just some of the things. It came and it went, y'all. But Yahoo reports there was an audience of 20 million United Kingdom viewers watched the coronation of King Charles III on Saturday, according to British press, including The Guardian, as viewers tuned in to witness the passing of the royal baton to King Charles. And now we no longer have Queen Consort. We have Queen Camilla of the Westminster Abbey ceremony. Now, y'all, it's very interesting because although the broadcast was there, if y'all remember the day before, it was raining cats and dogs. They didn't know what was going to happen or how it was going to happen, but it happened. But they came through. Okay, y'all, all eyes were on Harry, Prince Harry. Prince Harry came in dressed by a designer, Dior, and it was amazing. He came in, he was there a little bit under 28 hours because he told everybody, I'm going back to see my son and be with my wife and my children and celebrate Prince Archie. He was there sitting on the third row, all smiles, having fun. Nobody phased him. He didn't care. He didn't care. He came, he went. Also, he rode on a commercial airline. He rode in on American Airlines going in and British Airways going out. And he sat with the people and they said he had a great time. So, y'all, he's living his life. Why the British press wants to continue to bring him down, I have no idea. But he's doing what he's doing, and it's cool. It's cool. So then I looked through and I thought, wow, King Charles don't look excited. Camilla doesn't look excited. We had William and Kate who were late and messed up the procession. Just all of that was happening. Then we had Louis, who's a ham. You gotta love Prince Louis all the way around. Just so much was going on. Prince Anne was doing. The royal Prince Anne was doing what she was doing. I have no idea why. Pedophile was even suited up. I have no idea any of that. But y'all, Prince Edward, just all types of things was happening. Now, here's my question through all of this. Why are we Americans, me included, why are we so fascinated or tuned in to what it is that they're doing? It made me start looking up Black and brown queens and kings because I want to know my history and the history of the Black kings and queens as well. I'm putting together a complete list that hopefully I'll share with you this week. If not Thursday, I'll share it on Monday. But y'all, there's a rich history and beauty of so many Black and brown kings and queens that I want us to highlight and get off of these people over here. Let's just be honest. That's just where I'm headed with all of that. So it was just really interesting to see all of this unfold. Now, y'all, the latest podcast of Politics and Prose is now available. Yeah, we had on Stephanie Bright out of Atlanta, Georgia. She was talking about mental health. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. We were talking about mental health, and she really dug in talking about children. So Isaiah has an image we're going to put up. If you have not already listened to this podcast from Friday, it is now available. This is our season 2, episode 1. We took a break in April, just like I took a break on everything else. But y'all, we're talking about mental health, and we're talking about what is happening today, especially after being isolated for 2 years to some degree. Some people are still wearing masks, other people are still coming out of it, but that's what we're talking about. Thank you so much, Isaiah. So you can listen to that podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. You can even listen while you live. Words of Gina Winks. So y'all, let's talking about mental health. COVID-19 is coming to a close. More than 3 years of what we call social disruption, at least 6 million hospitalizations here in the U.S., 1.1 million U.S. deaths. The United States Public Health Emergency Declaration is due to expire on this Thursday, May the 11th. So it's all coming to a close. Many of you know, some of you said this kind of like backwards, and I just did my best to correct it. News in Motion was birthed during the height of the pandemic. It wasn't birthed due to the pandemic. It was not birthed only for or during the pandemic, but it was birthed during that time. So June 22nd, 2020. Now, some people say we were on the air before then. And I do see that we were on the air before then, but it wasn't really News in Motion. It wasn't really anything. I was just doing what I typically do by coming on. Our official date is June the 22nd, 2020. But y'all, that's what happened. So I started looking back when I was reading all this information about COVID-19. I said, wow. I said, during the height of the pandemic, here was News in Motion. We were going into that 2020 election. We were going into so much, and people were dealing with things, and mental health became real. Abuse, domestic abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse, a lot of stuff started really, the cover started coming back on all of that. Food insecurity, homelessness, so much. And it's just so exciting. Let me tell you why I'm saying exciting. It's so exciting to know that God gave me the platform to come in to reveal so much of that, and using this platform. And then many of you, mostly everyone who's in the chat right now, was with us on day one, and we're continuing this. So, you look back and you say, wow, God, thank you. And at the same time, look what we've come through. So y'all, as that is ending on May the 11th, you still have to do what's best for you. Y'all, if y'all remember, we gave COVID numbers every day. We gave hospitalizations, we gave death, we gave all types of reports during that time when it came to COVID. We talked about things that you could do in isolation. We talked about resources and connections, all of that during this whole COVID-19, the pandemic. Y'all, Dr. Rochelle Walensky will depart as head of the Centers for the Disease Control and Prevention on June the 30th. Citing the end of the COVID-19 pandemic. So she brought us through all of that. Dr. Antoinette said yes to our kings and queens. Netflix has 6-part special on Queen. And I cannot pronounce that. Nzinga. I believe that's how you pronounce that. But yes. And so just, thank you for saying that, Dr. Antoinette. It's so important for us to see ourselves and to know that we too are kings and queens. Yes, we are. We too are kings and queens. So y'all, that's everything with COVID-19 and what's going on there as we continue to progress and to move forward. Again, do what's best for you. And you're going to still hear me in News in Motion by saying, stay well and remember to make some bold moves. We have to do that. Giving you that tagline real quick, as many of you know, because I was posting, I was in Atlanta during this past weekend. And I made a post on my Instagram. I think it came over to Facebook. I'm not for sure. But I made a post on my Instagram saying, for the longest, I've been using that ending, stay well and make some bold moves. And it was just been recently that I said, what bold moves am I making? And I've been intentional on making some bold moves. And I want to tell you all, it is freeing to make bold moves and to have these dreams and to go for them. So even when we go back and look at yesterday, I could have said we weren't having News in Motion yesterday, but I said, no, we have a team that can do this. And a part of my bold move that I have no problem sharing with all of you who are our viewers and our listeners is to say, that's what I'm building. I'm building where Isaiah can run with productions. I'm building where Devontae or Pastor Derek Holmes or Deborah Johnson or whomever else, Davia, can step in and run the show. I don't need to be here. I believe it's a season of collaboration, of partnerships, and I believe it's a season to really empower one another and to put those voices out there. Going back to politics and prose just for a moment, that is our description, is to introduce fresh voices and to have that connection with people, because y'all, there's so many brilliant people out here. We may not all do it the same. But we all have our personalities, our characteristics, the character that we put out there, our attitude, everything. And I want to highlight people. So, Isaiah, I purposely asked you the questions that I asked you this morning because I wanted to say this. By September 2023, Isaiah is going to move from, when it comes to news and motion and politics and prose, Ready Media LLC, from media freelancer to freelance productions, y'all. He has proven himself. I had no doubt. I ain't think nothing about it. I was like, oh, Isaiah has this, because Isaiah and I, we know each other's move, heartbeats, everything. He's been with me now for over a year. Isaiah can finish a sentence. Isaiah has become so comfortable that he will say, oh, no, I don't like that. Sometimes people just go along with the flow to say, well, that's what she wants, we're doing. Isaiah will, I won't call it pushback, but he will give his expertise to something and show something. He's a videographer, he's a photographer, he is doing great things. He's did a production on a stage play on this past weekend. I've been watching him. His schoolwork is phenomenal, y'all. He's been acing these tests. He's doing great things. So that's what we're here for. That's what we do. And believe it or not, y'all, this is news that we should be supporting one another. Y'all, there we have mass shootings. There's now officially 202 mass shootings so far this year in the U.S. Y'all, it is more mass shootings than it has been days of 2023. Just thought I would say that. Dallas Morning News is reporting that a Texas bill to raise the age on AR-style guns purchase advanced days after the Allen shooting. Facing pressure from parents whose children died in the Uvalde school massacre, a House committee voted on yesterday, to raise the minimum age to buy AR-style rifles from 18 to 21. Okay, that's a start, but do we need them at all in the United States? 2 Republicans also joined 6 Democrats on the committee to advance the measure. Cheers even erupted in the room on yesterday. AP News is reporting that U.S. As authorities continue to investigate the motives and white supremacist views of the shooter who killed 8 people at a Texas outlet mall over the weekend, military officials told news outlets on yesterday, y'all, that he had been discharged from the U.S. Army in 2008 due to mental health issues just after 3 months and did not complete his training. So here's a question I have for us this morning. How was he able to purchase a gun privately at the same time legally purchasing a gun? So background checks, y'all, there's so much we need to put out there. And when we're talking about the 2024 elections, this needs to be a part of it. Y'all, Texas remains in the news. Believe it or not, I have probably 4 or 5 articles on Texas. USA Today reports that police yesterday identified and charged the driver of an SUV who killed 8 people and injured at least 10 others after crashing into a bus stop near the migrant processing facility outside Bronzeville, Texas over the weekend. The driver, a 34-year-old George Alvarez, was charged with 8 counts of manslaughter and 10 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Authorities say the suspect has a criminal history and they are still investigating whether the crash was an accident, intentional, or caused by intoxication. Y'all, there's so much that's going on. Yes, Adrian, make all of this make sense. Make all of it make sense. Lori says, we keep asking the same question about the purchase of guns. Why? Y'all, I'm still on Texas. Also, the Dallas Morning News reports that the North Texan lawmaker resigns after investigation finds that he engaged in sexual misconduct. That's good news, I guess, to some degree. GOP Rep Byron Slayton resigned on yesterday before the House voted on whether he should be expelled for inappropriate sexual conduct with the 19-year-old legislative aide. He sent a letter to Governor Greg Abbott and Chief House Clerk Stephen Brown stating his resignation was effective immediately. Yes, but even still, y'all, we have this question. Why are we allowing these men to hold these office, these different elected office, official office, and then they're abusing women, they're abusing men, other men, they're abusing people as a whole. Excuse me. Why are we allowing this? Why aren't we doing our research before we are voting these people into office? What else can we do on our side of vetting people and investigating people before we put them in office? I know here in Columbus, Ohio, and Latrice Jones shared this with you all last week, excuse me, is that if you live in Columbus, Ohio, and you're part of the Columbus City school system, there are town halls, y'all, where they're looking to select a superintendent. And what questions are you asking? What questions are you putting on the floor? Are you vetting people? Are you checking them out? Are you reading past articles? Are you making the connections so that you're not just voting someone or cheering someone on who sounds good and they have maybe the resume or the vita or the bio, but are you looking at their background? Are you checking them out? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. We need to start checking people out because our children are now legislative aides, are now in the classrooms teaching, are now being employees of corporations. We need to find out who are these CEOs, who are these people in these nonprofit executive positions, what are they doing, and how can we make sure that our people are secure? These are the questions we need to be asking. Marion Jackson says research will show this wasn't the first time he had inappropriate action with young women. I absolutely agree with you on that. I agree. Yeah, we have this debt ceiling that is continuing. President Biden is scheduled to meet with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and other congressional leaders today to negotiate the raising the debt limit in hopes of averting an economic catastrophe. And they're saying we're really on the brink of that. Latrice Jones says informed over ignorance. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely, Latrice. Y'all, the two sides are coming together in negotiations that are far apart. Y'all, you have to understand. Again, I read the 320 pages that was put together by the GOP in the House. What they're talking about getting rid of will hurt all of us. People who tune into News in Motion are people who want to see disparities removed. We want to see education increase for everybody. We want to see our veterans and our military taken care of. We want to see health care. We want to see people who have mental illness be able to be seen. There's a lot that's on the chopping block from the GOP that will really hurt all of us. So even now's the time to call our representatives, regardless if they're Democrats, independents, or Republicans. It's now time to do that and let them know, be concerned about your constituents, not about your pockets. And these special interest groups, these corporate partners, these investments, there should be a disconnect. Let's look at our own Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Hello, somebody. And just how they've been finagling in the millions of dollars. Even his own nephew, and I believe Devontae talked about this yesterday, received full college tuition from a special interest group or from a friend, as they call it. And then look at how many times Clarence Thomas voted that person's way. Yeah, you have to pay attention to these things, and shout out to all those groups that are uncovering all of this after doing their due diligence and connecting the dots and doing their research. Yeah, this is what's happening. So these are the things that are on the chopping block, and we should be extremely concerned. Even the student loan debt forgiveness. Again, I go back to, you had no problem taking PPP money, those of you in the chamber, and we're talking millions of dollars, some billions of dollars, but yet you don't want to offer student loan forgiveness. Why? Why is that? We need to start talking about all of these tents and the migration and what's happening, y'all. Title 42 expires extremely soon. I believe it's this week. It expires. And we need to say, okay, what's happening here? What are we doing here? What's going to go on here? We also need to think about Ukraine. Now, again, I'll tell you, I support Ukraine. I do. And I support the people. And I hope, all the killings and this whole war thing just comes to a halt. But look at the money that we're sending that way. But yet, we don't want to take care of our own. We have people who are homeless. We have people who are on the streets in tents. Talk about Portland, Oregon, talking about California, looking over at Texas at the border there. There's a lot that's happening, and we need to raise our voices asking the tough questions. And y'all go back to this. It comes back to town hall meetings. We have to show up. We have to allow our voices to be heard. We have to contact our representatives. Y'all, I'm not going to give this up. I'm not going to give this up. This is our call. This is our responsibility as constituents. We have to hold the people accountable. We voted you in. Even if we did not vote you in, you are representing my district, my area. I have something to say. Y'all, that is our responsibility. That's why we vote. So this is what's happening with the debt ceiling. The clock is ticking. We're looking at June the 1st. Or if y'all remember what I talked about last week, the X date. The X date meaning whenever it is, it could happen tomorrow. It could happen tomorrow. Now, why are we dragging our feet on this? And I want to talk about money. I'm just trying to connect the dots for y'all this morning. Latrice Jones, I believe, is still on here. I believe they should do this already. AP is reporting as schools across the country struggle to find teachers to hire, more governors are pushing for pay increases, bonuses, and other perks for this profession. Y'all, the average salary is about $67,000, and that's including California and DC and other high costs of living metropolitan areas. $67,000 is not going to cut it in most areas. Yet, we have students are still going buck wild. We have students who are fighting teachers. We have parents who are really controlling the narrative. We have school boards who are doing more political advocacy than anything else. They're not really concerned about the children. They're trying to remove books, ban books. They're trying to dictate what can be said in the classroom. These teachers are done. They're like, I love this. This is my purpose. This is my calling, but I cannot effectively do this with all of these mandates and how you're trying to control the schools and control my classroom and saying what I can teach and what I can't teach. And I'm trying to educate the children. All of these different tests that we're giving these students to keep them in a failed position. We got y'all. This too. We need to be speaking up. We need to be using our voices when it comes time to voting to make sure that people are being heard and our teachers are being taken care of. Y'all, there's a lot that's going on. It says that already in 2023, governors in Georgia and Arkansas have pushed through teacher pay increase ahead of Monday's start of National Teacher Appreciation Week. Others, both Republican and Democrats, have proposed doing the same to attract and retain educators. More than half of the state's governors over the past year, 26 so far, have proposed boosting teacher compensation, according to groups that track. And again, this is all coming straight from the AP Associated Press. So y'all, just to kind of change the narrative just a little bit, just because I can't figure out what Elon Musk is doing. Y'all, in Twitter world, he's now warning Twitter followers that the counts can drop because he's going to just start removing inactive accounts. You don't have anything better to do. Seriously, Elon, you have nothing better to do. But that's what he's doing. So I just thought I would throw that out there in case you're still on Twitter. And my personal account is still on there. And I still engage a little bit. I've been really just reading the whole thing with, Harry, Meghan, Wills, Kate, Louis, Camilla. I just go on there for fun. But it's just interesting to see the dynamics with everything that's going on there. Y'all know I talk a lot about food insecurity. Well, I've been reading a piece, and I'm going to put the link in the chat in a few moments so that you can read it for yourself. And this is coming directly from the New York Times. They're talking about highly processed foods. So even as we're talking about food insecurity, and maybe we're going out and we're getting, these canned goods or these frozen foods or whatever, and yes, and we want people to be fed. We also have to understand that highly processed foods make up approximately 60% of average American diet and have long been associated with adverse health outcomes. Recent studies have revealed their significant impact, y'all get this, on our mental well-being as well. Here's a direct quote. Roughly 60% of the calories in average American diet comes from highly processed foods. We've known for decades that eating such packaged products like some breakfast cereals, snack bars, frozen meals, and virtually all packaged sweets, among many other things, is linked to unwelcome health outcomes, like an increased risk of diabetes, obesity, and even cancer. But more recent studies point to another major downside to these often what we call delicious, convenient foods. They appear to have a significant impact on our minds as well. So y'all, we're getting hit multiple ways. So I want y'all to pay attention to that. And again, I will copy this and put this in the chat so that you all can have it. Read this article. This article will, and I think I just put it in there. The article will literally just make you pause. So that's now in the chat. Okay, with that, y'all, inspirational message today, feed me, feed me. We see in the Bible, it says, for I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger and you invited me into your home. Y'all, it's now time to be fed. So let's see. Latrice Jones says, Lord, this is major reinforcement for plant-based eating. Yes, it is, Latrice. It is. It is. And that's really why I put this scripture as the inspirational message along with this, because we need to start asking ourselves the question, who's feeding me? What am I eating? And why am I eating it? The other questions I have here is it time for me to slow down and truly look at recipes and eat according to what I need to be putting inside my temple, and not just being in a rush day in and day out? I'm going to mess up some of you, and I'm just as guilty. The same thing with the drive-throughs we go through in the morning for that cup of coffee. What's in there? What is it packed with? Do we even know? We were so tripping on a vaccine for COVID that was literally killing people. 1.1 million, actually a little over 1.1 million in the US, 6 million hospitalizations. We were tripping off of a vaccine because we were like, we don't know what's in it or what it will do. I'm guilty with that as well. But yet we eat food every day that we're not even considering what's in it. We can't even pronounce half of the words. Yes, we have a food insecurity crisis here in America, actually around the entire world. But yet we have to be mindful. Okay, we want people to be food secure, but what are we actually giving them? And why are we giving it to them? Is it going to help with their comprehension? You've heard me talk about this many times. You've heard me talk about children going to school hungry and they cannot comprehend while sitting in the classroom. So are we going to give them a quick fix with cereal that's filled with sugar and other stuff that we can't even pronounce because we don't even know what's in it? And we're so used to and drawn to what tastes good. Well, here's the truth. Maybe what we're eating that we think is tasting good really isn't tasting good. That if we would wean ourselves off of some of these things and eat the things that are healthy, we may find that tastes better than this other junk we've been eating. Marion says, repeat the scripture, please. And it's out of Matthew. I don't have the thing, but it's, for I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger and you invited me into your home. It's in Matthew. I don't have the exact thing, but I'll find it and give it to you. I didn't put that in there. So going back to what I was saying, we have to be mindful of what we are eating. Latrice Jones says, who's feeding me? Listen, and I'm going to go a step further with that. Who's feeding me with the information that they're giving me, even in everyday conversations? Who's feeding me, telling me I can't do something? Who's feeding me, telling me I should be doing this? Well, what's your background? And why are you really directing me to do those particular things? Are you doing it to prevent me from progressing? Hello, somebody. Are you doing it to get me into something that's not for me? Are you doing it for wrong motives or reasons? Are you doing it because you want to deceive me? Are you doing it because you're jealous of me? Are you doing it because you want to see me succeed? Are you doing it because God's really giving you a word to give to me? Why, y'all? It's a season that we have to be still and know. And a part of that, and I heard Sharita Jake say this, and that be still and know is to be still and not seek advice from anybody else no time soon until God releases us to do it. Yeah, this is a season we have to be aware. We have to be mindful. We have to trust. We have to be bold. We have to be confident in knowing. Thank you, Yvonne Gardner. Thank you. We have to be confident in knowing. That's Matthew 25:35-40. Thank you. Deborah says we need to grow more of our own vegetables. Yes. Even with that, Deborah, if I can say this, y'all, it also has to be about the soil. See, I can do a whole sermon on this right here. The soil. What are we planting our seeds in? Is it contaminated soil, or is it soil that's been purified? Is it soil that we've prayed over? Is it soil that we've been led to? Y'all, what exactly are we doing and why? Why are we responding the way that we're responding? I want to go back to my trip to Atlanta. Again, baby girl's now a homeowner. Look, and she's, she has a registry. If y'all want it, let me know. I'll send y'all the link because we're just trying to, I'm just got to put that plug in there. But y'all, when, I was there for Easter, turned around and went back this past weekend. And I just started thinking, God, thank you. He's actually answering a prayer that I have been asking for. And that has been freedom to make bold moves. So often we're so cautious. Well, I can't do this. Not now. Who do I think I am? I am a child of the Most High God. That's who I am. I don't think that's who I am. That is who I am. That I know who I am. It's taken me a long time to get there. Transparent moment. It's taken me a long time to get there. I may have been able to speak it, but now I'm living it because I know the seeds that are being planted. I know the soil. And every now and then I got to pluck out the weeds that are trying to choke out the growth that God has given me in this season. When people start seeing you blossom, they start seeing that your shoulders are back and you are living in your freedom. Those come to start trying to dump things on you and to pull you away. That's where you got to get through the soil and move all that stuff out. And then go back to, okay, who's feeding me? Where am I eating from? What table am I sitting at? What food? How was this food processed? How did they grow this food? How many weeds are in this food? How many fake substances are in these items? And again, those could be spoken words or the nourishment of actual food that we're eating. All right, y'all, I need to leave y'all alone because I'm getting real excited right here. And I can feel it bubbling. So let y'all go to work, go to school, take care of your home, whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. Y'all, if this message, even if it was just the inspirational message spoke to you, share this with somebody. Y'all, people need to hear these things. People need to hear these. And while I'm speaking this too, and I know I'm past time, but while I'm speaking this as well, listen. God knows the plans he has for you. They're plans to prosper you, to give you a hope and a future, not plans for destruction. Y'all, be still and know. Listen to the plans that God has for you and not the plans that somebody else has for you. Y'all, this is pruning season. Your friendships are about to change. They are. Not that necessarily anything was wrong with it. God's just moving you out. God's just shifting some things around. Y'all, don't resist the shift. That's a whole nother message. Don't resist the shift. Don't resist the shift. All right, y'all. Y'all know what I say until tomorrow. And y'all, guess what? We got Dr. Derek Holmes coming on here tomorrow with us. So until tomorrow, y'all stay well. And remember, make some bold moves. I'm out.
Motion.